พี่ครับผมเกรงใจจังเลยไปนั่งรอไม่เป็นไร
What started with a late-night message turned into a hastily put-together trip into the heartlands of Thailand's northeast. Buriram is just an hour's flight away from the capital Bangkok. But the story we're chasing is actually taking place on the other side of the world, 7,151 kilometers away to be precise.
Israel and Hamas are set to swap more hostages and prisoners today, the third such exchange since the ceasefire began. The militant group will also release 5 Thai hostages, reportedly as part of a separate arrangement made with the Thai government.
And an agonizing wait of 482 days is coming to an end. We find ourselves on an unexpected trip. Even though the names of the to-be-released hostages have not been made public, we were able to verify from our sources in Israel that among the 5 Thais is Pongsak Tena. This is why we are coming here to Buriram province, to his home, to visit his father and to be here with him at this moment. Virat Tena has been waiting for this day to come for 15 months. When we arrived, he was almost a changed man from when we last saw him 3 months ago. Gone was his concern and sorrow, replaced by a very hopeful mood.
รู้สึกเมื่อคืนนี้ตอน3 ทุ่มสถานทูตโทรมาบอกว่าจะมีการปล่อยตัวประกันที่เป็นคนไทย5 คนผมรู้ดีใจมากครับนอนไม่หลับทั้งคืนยังไงมันจังปีกว่าแล้วเนาะที่ผ่านไปปีกว่ามันก็อย่างว่าช่วงที่ข่าวเงียบหายไปความรู้สึกมันมีความหวังก็50-50
The sun is setting on this day here in Thailand, but over in Israel, it's just after midday. And events are just unfolding over across its border there with the Gaza Strip.
The third hostage prisoner exchange between Israel and Hamas is underway.
We're trying to make their way through this very packed crowd and also some visuals coming out of Israeli hostages being led through that densely packed crowd. Meanwhile, no update yet so far on those 2 other Israeli hostages or the 5 Thai hostages who wait.
Despite the near certainty of the hostages' release, it was still a tense wait for us. Kun Pa, or father, as I call him as a polite way to address an older Thai man, has been waiting for hours. Then, shortly before 7 p.m., his phone rings.
ลุงบอกว่าอะไรนะครับการโทรมาบอกว่ามีการยืนยันแล้วว่าพงศักดิ์แทนาปล่อยออกมาแล้วครับ
ได้แล้ว
ครับผมโอเคครับผมรู้สึกยังไงดีใจมากเลยครับ
We see, streamed live online, the first clips of the Israeli hostages being embraced by the loved ones. But there's no update of Pongsak and the other Thai hostages yet.
So that's adding up to 8 hostages.
This is not being carried on Thai media, so we are helping him check every other available source. Then we come across a video clip that could be what we have been looking for.
มีวิดีโอจากอิสราเอลที่มันมาเดี๋ยวดูหน่อยซิว่ามันเจอลูกไหม
เสื้อขาว
วันนี้แล้ว
น่าจะใช่ครับเดี๋ยวให้ลูกเกิดไปดูก่อน
เดี๋ยว
นิ้ว
ไฟฟ้าแยกให้ค่ะ
ในช็อตนี้
เสื้อขาวนี่ไม่น่าจะใช่ไม่ใช่ค่ะ
โอเคแล้วก็อีก2 คน
น้องเกณฑ์น่าจะนี่ไงต้นนี่ไงของแท้เลยนี่อ้วนท้วนสมบูรณ์เหมือนเดิมเลย
ขอบคุณครับ
ตีมาเลยต้น มยังอ้วนคือเขาเลย
โอ้ยดูเอ้ยมาแล้ว
นี่แหละข้าวต้มของจริงเลยตัวจริงเนี่ยยังติด
มาแล้วมาแล้วโอ้
ยังอ้วนเปิดสมบูรณ์คือเขา
นี่มาติดเห็นแล้ว
บอนี่ยังติดนี่
นี่เห็นแล้ว
นี่แหละต้มเลยค่ะ
เนี่ย
รู้แล้ว
จานเขาแดงเขาตีเลยแต่คนแรกน่ะไม่ใช่ถ้าเป็นต้มแบบมองนิดเดียว
ใจ
ก็รู้
พายเลยครับผม
We have finally found Pongsak Thana. It was such a relief not only for Virat and his family, but also for us. We have been following this story and the fate of the victims and their families here in Thailand since October 7th, 2023, when Hamas attacked Israel and took more than 200 people hostage, many of them Thai migrant workers caught in the crossfire. We have seen their pain and shared in their agony. But we have also held on, as they have, to the hope that one day they would welcome their loved ones back home. And that day is finally here. It has been a wait of 482 days. Up next, we're going back to where it started and how we got to this point. A father watches life as his son is freed by militants in Gaza. The 5 Thai men taken hostage for 15 months. Finally, they are coming home. We have left the father Virat Thana and his family in Buriram and are following what's happening with the 5 men from our office in Bangkok. The Israeli authorities have taken the former hostages almost immediately after they're released to a hospital outside of the city of Tel Aviv. But my colleague in Israel manages to get an update on them.
Behind me is the Shamir Medical Centre. It is just outside Tel Aviv, and this is where 5 former Thai hostages are being held, being treated after an absolutely grueling ordeal in the Gaza Strip. Now, these 5 men were working in a kibbutz in southern Israel when Hamas stormed the fence and took captives. They spent more than 15 months in Hamas captivity, and from what we do understand, they actually are in a fairly good condition. Now, they were handed over from Hamas to Israeli authorities, or to the Red Cross, and then over to Israeli authorities on Thursday. They were treated at a reception centre on the Gaza border before being flown by helicopter to where we are standing. Now, I do have a statement from the director of this hospital that they're in a fair condition, saying that most of them were held underground and were not exposed to light for extended periods. They do not appear to be malnourished, crediting their age for helping them survive. Now, we do have some pictures coming in of when they first landed at this hospital, walking through the hallways, looking relatively good despite the ordeal. We've also understood that they've met with the Foreign Minister Gideon Saar. He came out to say that he wished them a good life, health and freedom, adding, "It is good to have you back." And that is really the general consensus right around Israel. We do, of course, know that these men do not have any family members here, but some people did turn up around this hospital waving both Israeli and Thai flags to really try and welcome these men back. Now, they will spend around a week or so in this hospital getting various types of medical treatment from health professionals, and also the local community is really rallying to make them feel more at home, with a number of owners of Thai restaurants preparing them special meals to bring to this hospital.
Now, we have been following this story since its tragic beginning on October 7th, 2023, when Hamas attacked Israel and took them hostage. For a lot of people, even here in Bangkok, this has probably been the first time that they have heard about the roughly 30,000 Thais working in Israel. 41 Thais have been killed that day, caught in a crossfire, and about the same number of Thais have been taken hostage. Some of them have been released later that November after 1.5 months in captivity. This is Udon Thani in the northeast of Thailand. It's largely rural and almost 7,000 kilometers away from Israel, and yet it is very connected to the Middle East. Over 4,000 people from here work as migrant workers over there, far away from home, for a higher pay, but not without risks to their safety. Mani Tirashad was in his last few months of his 5-year stint in Israel, working on a farm near Gaza, when he was woken up by air raid sirens.
ก็รีบวิ่งเข้าบังเกอร์ก็หลังจากนั้นมี2 รอบวิ่งเข้าบังเกอร์รอบที่2ก็เจอเลย
เจอพวก
ฮามัสก็โดนจับไปขึ้นรถเดินไป6 คนขึ้นรถได้4 2 คนถูกยิงตาย
What followed for Mani was over a month of captivity. At least 31 hostages were kidnapped to Gaza after the militant group Hamas attacked Israel 2 months ago. He tells me that he was beaten at the start of what would be 50 days in captivity and kept in an underground tunnel with other hostages. ได้คุยกับไอ้พวกที่ควบคุมหรือเปล่าแล้วก็ถ้าได้คุยเขาเล่าให้เราฟังยังไงบ้าง
ไม่ครับ
ไม่พูดเลย
ครับผม
แบบทุกตลอดเวลาแบบไม่ได้คุยอะไรสักหน่อย
ใช่ครับผมก็คุยได้เขาเข้ามาให้กินเขาพูดนิดๆหน่อยๆเขาก็ออกไปครับผมว่าอยากกลับไทยเขาก็ว่ายิงกันเสร็จจะไปกลับ
Mani usually goes by his nickname Lucky, and in a way he might count himself just as that. A truce was finally reached after weeks of armed conflict, allowing for the release of some hostages, including 29 Thais, and Mani, in the green t-shirt, was to be one of them. This was news Chumpon had been hoping for back home since his son was taken.
พอดีผมตื่นขึ้นมาแล้วทางคนอิสราเอลเป็นเพื่อนผมน่ะก็โทรมาบอกว่าแล้วชื่อผมชื่อเล่นนะจะมีการปล่อยตัวประกันแล้วรอบ2มีลักกี้อยู่ว่างั้นน่ะผมไม่เชื่อเขาก็ท่านกันส่งไลน์มาให้ดูนะผมก็ว่างนี้เขาก็เอาโทรศัพท์ไปถ่ายที่ทีวีที่เขาข่าวที่อิสราเอลนะมาให้ดูใช่จริงลูกกูจริงๆก็ดีใจละเท่นี่
อายุ51
For Kanmi Lamnao, the wait has become unbearable. Her oldest son Surasak was working in Israel before the Hamas attack on October the 7th, and she has not been able to reach him since.
ก็ถามว่าเห็นแทนไหมอะไรไหมเพื่อนก็บอกว่ายังไม่เห็นติดต่อยังไม่ได้วันนี้ตอนเย็นวันที่7แม่ก็ถามลงเพจเอารูปแกลงเพจทีนี้เพื่อนเห็นเพื่อนก็ทักมาก็บอกว่าสุรศักดิ์ลำเนานี้ถูกจับไปเป็นตัวประกันพร้อมหัวหน้าคนงานบอกถูกจับไปด้วยกันทั้งหมด5 คน
Thai authorities say Surasak is not among the Thai hostages known to be still held in Gaza or among the 39 confirmed deaths, so he remains officially classified as missing. Kanmi watched Mani's homecoming as she waits for news of her missing son.
ก็ยังมีความหวังอยู่แต่กลุ่มที่ถูกจับด้วยไปด้วยกัน5 คนนะก็ออกมาแล้ว2 คน
Now a year later, Kanmi would get word about her son. Surasak Lamnao was later confirmed as Thai hostage number 32. After October 7th, 2023, Israel retaliated against Hamas by bombing Gaza. The fate of the 10 or so Thai hostages was unknown, even though they were somewhere in the Palestinian territories. 2 of them were later declared dead, but for the families scattered across rural Thailand, the next 12 months became an unbearable wait for any sign of life. This is Pongsak Tana, live streaming from Israel, where he was employed as a farmhand. He would film himself while working. But on October 7th, 2023, he decided to do something different. Instead of live streaming, he called his father, Virat Tana, back home in Buriram province in the northeast of Thailand.
ลูกชายก็วิดีโอคอลไม่ดูอยู่ว่าช่วงนี้เกิดสงครามกันกำลังรบกันยิงกันเขาก็วิดีโอคอลให้พ่อดูนี่ลบลูกระเบิดก่อน มาอีกแล้วลูกหนึ่ง2 ลูกลบพวกเราลบก่อนเขาก็พูดอย่างนี้นะประมาณสัก10 นาทีมั้งที่เขาวิดีโอคอลไม่ไลฟ์สดให้ผมดูนะวันที่7นะประมาณ10 นาทีกว่าเนี่ยแล้วก็ตัดไปเลยครับ
And that was to be the last contact Mr. Virat would have of his son ever since. Pongsak became one of at least 32 Thai nationals captured by militant groups in Gaza. Apart from them, 39 Thais were killed in the attacks. The footage of their bodies being brought back to Thailand shocked the nation. It was also a reminder of Israel's reliance on Thai migrant workers.
It's rural places like here in Reunite province where most of the migrant workers come from. In Israel, they work as farmhands and gardeners, earning up to $1,800 per month, which is a lot more than they could ever earn back home here in the same line of work.
His biggest wish is for his son to come back alive.
ถ้าหากลูกชายสามารถยังรับข้อมูลอะไรได้จะอยากฝากให้ลูกชายว่าไง
ถ้าสมมติว่าขอภาวนาให้เป็นจริงถ้าลูกชายยังมีชีวิตอยู่ถ้าวันไหนถ้าฝั่งรัฐบาลอิสราเอลก็ปล่อยตัวประกันมันก็คอยลูกได้รีบกลับมาบ้านมาปักบ้านเกิดมาหาพ่อตาหาป้าหาลุงแต่ที่สำคัญที่สุดอยากให้เข้ามาบวชให้แม่เขาเสียเขาไม่ได้ตันอยู่แล้วครับผมนี่คือความปรารถนาที่สุดคือของผมในชีวิตถ้าเขามาแล้วเขารีบกลับมาแล้วผมก็ต้องจัดพิธีบวชให้เขาเพื่อให้แม่เขาด้วยที่เขาเสียไประหว่างที่ลูกไม่อยู่ครับผม
Thais believe the ordination will cleanse the soul from evil after a horrific ordeal. This hope for a fresh start for his missing son has kept his father going for a year and counting.
Now, this was one of the emotionally most difficult interviews I have ever done. So I can't stress enough the relief on everybody, including for us, when we heard that the son was released.
Pongsak and the other 4 men are being observed for about a week to make sure they are okay to fly back to Thailand. And the Thai government is flying some of their family members to Israel to be with them. Virat isn't going on that long flight, but Kanmi is. Her son was among the 5 freed. She had held on to hope she would see him again, and she's about to now. Kanmi Lamnao is here in Israel to bring her son home. Authorities had first declared Surasak missing. Then they confirmed he was held hostage in Gaza. The next reunion sees a young man representing his entire family. He sees his uncle, Pongsak, whose own father, Virat, is waiting for him back in Thailand. The customary why, the clasped hands, give way to emotions that have built up as the freed hostages see their loved ones who have flown more than 10 hours to finally see them again. Israel will pay the ex-hostages and their families compensation for what they went through, and it will be the same as what they are paying out to their own citizens taken hostage. Before October 7th, 2023, about 30,000 Thais were employed in Israel, mostly in agriculture, as part of a scheme that has replaced Palestinian workers. They can earn up to $1,800 a month for about 5 years. Unthinkable back home in Thailand for the same line of work. After the attack, about 9,000 gave up the high pay to return home to Thailand. But the high pay continues to draw Thai workers to Israel. Today, there's an estimated 35,000 of them there, 5,000 more than 15 months ago. Many more are applying to go. And Israel will increase its quota for Thai workers by another 13,000.
When I see the waiting list and I see thousands of people there, it means that it's the communities that are interested, they know about the opportunities. and they know because it's their cousins, their friends, their small communities. And when I visit those remote provinces, many times they say, no, this is his son, but also the neighbors, and people hear about it, and it looks like a place of opportunity. And we're happy about it. We need good people, and we want people with some experience and people that are happy to go. Nobody forces them to go.
The Thai government has also encouraged more of its nationals to go work in Israel, despite ongoing risks. Following deadly rocket attacks that killed 5 Thais last October and November, Thai officials urge Israeli employers not to take them to dangerous areas near its borders. With the situation there unsettled, the safety of the workers remains a concern. However, the Labour Ministry declined to be interviewed for this story. For the ex-hostages who have survived from being in the crossfire of this foreign war, they are just happy to put this behind them.
มันเหมือนตายแล้วเกิดใหม่ครับเหมือนได้ชีวิตใหม่ครับรู้สึกดีใจมากตอนนี้แบบมีความหวังยังไงไหมคะก็ ขอแค่ได้มีชีวิตออกมาผมก็โอเคแล้วครับ
7,151 kilometers away, Pongsak's father Virat is having dinner. He hasn't eaten with his son for more than 5 years, and for 15 months he had feared that Pongsak would never come back. But soon, the two men will sit down again at the same table, back home in Buriram.
Our story ends here. We decide not to follow the media that will chase the freed hostages back to their home provinces.
The families have been waiting for a long time for their reunions, and they deserve their privacy at this very precious moment.